I'm just sad. We don't got any more Marvel content to watch on Disney Plus. WandaVision's done, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, and oh, What If is next? Oh, What If comes out tomorrow? Never mind. Oh, we could just cut that, right? Yeah, I'm not that sad anymore. I'm happy. Gotta wipe my tears and drink some water, and let's get into this review. What's going on, you guys? James here with another real review, and yes, today we're getting into my spoiler-free thoughts for the first 3 episodes of What If, the new Marvel and Disney Plus series, which is streaming exclusively on Disney Plus starting Wednesday, and I can't wait to finally dive into what I loved and what I didn't like too much. But guys, again, this is spoiler-free, and thank you to Disney Plus for giving me the chance to watch all 3 of these episodes early for review. But guess what? Just because we're talking about it now doesn't mean you're not getting my reactions every single week for the next 3 weeks. So you know what, starting tomorrow, make sure you're subscribed to the channel down below, tap on that bell, y'all, because I want you in the comments for reactions for What If, because trust me, this is going to be such a fun series to watch together. And if you haven't already, hit the thumbs up button and go ahead again and let me know down below in the comments, are you excited for What If? What do you think of this show from the trailers or posters that you've seen? Because guys, let me tell you, you should get excited for this show. It's directed by Bryan and is narrated by Jeffrey Wright as the Watcher, and features a ton of returning voices that we've come to know and love from the MCU. So this series is going to be a ton of, oh my gosh, I know that person, oh, I know that voice, or oh, that doesn't sound like Dave Bautista. But honestly, this is going to be such a fun ride for so many Marvel fans. But you know what? Let's not talk about that, and let's get right into my positives and talk about what this series meant to me as a legacy MCU fan. I've been with them from the jump, and if you have been with them from the beginning as well, this is definitely going to hit a sweet spot in your heart. And guys, it's just amazing to see how unique this series is compared to what we've already gotten in the MCU. Between WandaVision and What If, these are really 2 of the most unique bits of content that Marvel Studios has ever produced. And sure, we have Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness next year, but with What If, guys, it serves as a great reminder that Marvel Studios is not done surprising us as fans. And I'm a big fan of What If putting characters that we've grown to love in different roles, because it's wildly effective here. Seeing Peggy Carter take up the shield and become Captain Carter was amazing. It made my heart absolutely sing. And then you have the more emotional storyline with Chadwick Boseman reprising his role as T'Challa, or in What If as he's known as Star-Lord. So it's really cool to see how they go and they twist and turn these stories, but it just works. Oh, and don't worry, I'm not forgetting about some of our legacy characters returning, like Agent Coulson as, well, actually Agent Coulson. Now, when it comes to the actual structure of What If, it is an anthology series, sure, but each of these episodes I think are the perfect length. From episode 1 to episode 3, my imagination kept running wild even though we only had 30 minutes to spend in these stories, and I was able to get really engrossed into each of these adventures as well. And at no point did I feel like any of the episodes so far overstayed their welcome, whether it be solving a mystery with Nick Fury or going on this daring mission and adventure with Captain Carter. Each episode served its purpose well and fit within that frame of like 30 to 31 minutes. And I really do love the anthology approach here, because it helps me get excited for the next episode, knowing we're going to get a fresh and exciting story with new heroes and villains. Honestly, big props to writer A.C. Bradley, who was able to really craft these stories, because it's awesome. I didn't read the comics, but from what I've heard, the comics are awesome, and it's cool to see it just come to the big screen or little screen, depending on how you're viewing What If. And guys, when it comes to the art style, I thought it was absolutely incredible. Now, I was an early adopter of this art style, and I know it might be a tough sell for others, but I love the way that the show blends together some hand-drawn animation, of course 3D animation, and cell shading. It gives this cool effect where it feels like it's being peeled from a comic book and placed in a, well, 3D generated world, but it just works for me so well. And I really got a sense of how amazing the animation was in the middle of action scenes, because it was really impressive to see how it flowed in and out of those action set pieces, and I love how vibrant the show can also get, especially in episode 2. So technically speaking, just looking at the animation and looking at the direction and the writing, guys, What If nails it. Now, as an overall show, I do think the main draw here for a lot of people is just going to be that returning cast from the MCU. And from the first 3 episodes alone, I gotta tell you, I was so happy to hear some of these voices again, and it is a treat for those, again, that have been sticking with the MCU from the very beginning. But of course, there are some standouts, and for me, at the top of the list is Hayley Atwell as Captain Carter. She was amazing in episode 1. The energy, the sass, the attitude, the confidence, it was just so darn well executed, and Hayley Atwell just made me want another season of Agent Carter, because we do deserve one, or just the standalone Captain Carter film. And it was really cool to hear Josh Brolin come back as Thanos too, who does have his moments of intimidation, but it was neat to see this softer approach to his character. And then this next standout for me is quite honestly the most emotional of them all, and yes, it is Chadwick Boseman coming back as T'Challa, or as we know him in What If, as Star-Lord. And it broke my heart at first. That's all I could think about was, my gosh, I wish he was still here with us. But Chadwick Boseman once again proves that his legacy will live on forever, and that he is the most perfect fit for T'Challa. Seriously guys, it was just tear-inducing. I was crying a little bit. You'll see it in the reaction. Also, you know, I gotta shout out Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. His back and forth banter with Clark Gregg, who voices Coulson, was an absolute treat. And don't worry, I'm not forgetting about Jimon Hunsoon and Michael Rooker, who are awesome in this series as well. Of course, I won't tell you exactly what happens with those characters, but it's just neat to see a different approach to them. And to be honest, the roles that don't see the return of our MCU actors were pretty seamless too. We definitely know Dave Bautista didn't voice Drax, and it doesn't sound like Scarlett Johansson voiced Black Widow. I couldn't find that anywhere on IMDb or in the media kit that Disney Plus sent me, so I can safely assume that both of those characters, among a few others, were voiced by different actors. But you know what? It was a near perfect impression, and I don't think it took away from the series at all. And before we get into the negatives, guys, we gotta talk about one distinct voice that is absolutely breathtaking for me, and that was Jeffrey Wright as the Watcher. In the comics, he's known as Uatu, I think that's how you pronounce it, but here I just call him the Watcher, and let me tell you, he's a little sinister, but I do think that this voice was literally the best fit for the role. I really appreciated the very Twilight Zone feel that Jeffrey Wright brings to the series, and his introduction to each episode never ceased to put a smile on my face. Oh, and keep a lookout for the Watcher. In some episodes, I love that he popped up out of nowhere. It was just so cool to see, and also really helped make this one of the more distinguished series of the year, because guys, every episode just provided something new. Alright, so I know I'm raving about What If right now, but guys, there are some drawbacks here with the show that isn't perfect through 3 episodes, and one of the issues I do have is this frantic pacing. I know you can only get so much fit into a 30-minute episode, but what I will say is that sometimes scenes weren't allowed to really linger a little. That happens the most in episodes 1 and sometimes in episode 2, with episode 3 being a slow change of pace, and that's not terrible. But when we're going through action scenes with Captain Carter, I never felt like I could sit and let these moments marinate. Instead, it was always, well, what's next? Okay, what's gonna happen next? Oh, she just kicked her bike into this tower? Okay, whatever, next scene. So I wanted a little bit more time spent in these action set pieces, and even episode 2 at the end just moved by so quickly, and we didn't get a chance to spend enough time in a certain location that I'm not disclosing because it's a spoiler-free review. I just wish the change of pace was handled a little bit better, and I think that's going to be something that actually might linger for the rest of the season for me. And I made a mention of this in one of my reactions, but guys, I don't necessarily think the facial animations were always as on point. There were plenty of moments in the beginning of episode 1, for example, and in episode 3 where I just wasn't sold on the actual facial movements. Now, did I feel like that for an entire 30 minutes? No, but I think that's because I was so distracted by everything surrounding our characters that I didn't pay attention too much to their faces, but there were times where the camera really was just settling in on a character, and I thought it looked a little wonky. And for as great as the scripts have been through 3 episodes, I do think the writing gets itself into a corner sometimes. Now, this was most evident in episode 3 for me, because while I love the mysterious approach to this episode and trying to figure out what's coming next, I don't think there were many moments that the humor worked very well. There's that typical MCU banter, and that's not terrible, but there are so many jokes that are just trying too hard to make me laugh. And I also think it's the one thing that didn't work with the writing itself, was the humor overall. This is already a tight narrative, and I don't think there's that much room for jokes, and especially running jokes, but boy, there were moments where I'm like, okay, I get it, Agent Coulson, obsessed with the Avengers, but can we just take a step back from that? Make him say one joke, that's fine, but we can't linger on this moment alone. It just didn't really fit for me. And while our cast is very good through 3 episodes, guys, there's only one performance that let me down a little bit, and that's the Collector. See, Benicio del Toro is an amazing actor. I loved him in the live action Guardians of the Galaxy. Of course, he's such a staple character for that entire franchise, but I just don't necessarily think his voice was as commanding here. And did I love the turn that his character took? Not really, honestly, but I just don't think Benicio brought it as much as he did in the movies. But with that being said, there are no more negatives that I have, and guys, overall, I have to say, What If is a total win for the MCU and for fans. Each episode just delivers something for everyone. If you want an action-packed episode, you got Captain Carter. If you want something that's a little bit more of a, oh, I wonder what's going to happen next, and a mysterious vibe, you get that with Agent Coulson and Nick Fury. And our ensemble cast here is just incredible too, and I saw some name credits go by, like Lake Bell, who I absolutely love, and I'm actually wondering if Lake Bell voiced Natasha Romanoff. But what I will say is that anyone here that was not present in the MCU, they do a good job at really just fitting in and making this a very believable animated series. And the one thing that What If does the best is that after episode 3, I actually wanted the rest of the season right now. At no point from the time I finished episode 3 all the way up until this review have I thought, okay, I can wait a little bit. I'm actually itching for episode 4, 5, and all the way up to episode 9. I just can't wait to see exactly how they round out the series, and to me, I do think this will get a season 2. There's no way that What If is not going to do numbers on Disney Plus. Will it do as well as WandaVision? Maybe not, but I do think that What If is going to provide something for fans who have been clamoring for these characters in different roles. Oh, and trust me, you're going to want to stay off of Twitter because there are so many different scenarios in this show that might get spoiled for you if you just go on Twitter the morning of an episode's premiere. So with all that being said and the negatives that I gave, guys, I would give this a strong 4 out of 5 so far through 3 episodes. I am just totally bought into What If, this animation style and this awesome direction and writing. So guys, there you have it. That's my real review of What If, which again begins streaming on Disney Plus August 11th, and an episode will be released every week. So you're not getting the first 3 episodes on Wednesday, but you're getting episode 1, and then next week episode 2, and so on and so forth, all the way up until the final episode with episode 9. But guys, I need to know exactly what you thought of What If down below in the comments, so go ahead and get loud, and don't forget to hit the big red button and tap on that bell, y'all, because guess what? We are reacting to episodes 1, 2, and 3 right here on the channel, and I'm hoping to get to the rest of the season as well. Alrighty, y'all, again, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you at the next screening. Imagine me in a What If scenario. Maybe I'd be like a negative reviewer, you know, like someone who just comes in with, no, never mind, no, I can't do that.